The story of Local 467 is a story of peace, war, industrial, post-industrial, high-tech, and biotech development. A story of America. Our first 50 years saw 2 wars, a depression, and the turn from rural to residential and suburban development. Under business manager Sam Abrascato, we prospered, and under Tom Hunter, we broke ground for our new building in Burlingame. By our 75th anniversary in 1978, we had grown to over 800 members, and were riding a wave of construction. Under the leadership of business manager Gary Saunders, we continue to grow. Our apprenticeship program thrives. It turns out superbly trained and qualified craftsmen, and our retired members can count on the very best in health and pension benefits. As we look forward to an exciting future, let's take a few minutes to remember our past. This is our story.
Local Union 467 was organized in 1903 by 7 plumbers of the time. They banded together collectively to decide how much money they were going to be paid for their labor. They worked 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, for $4 a day. And shortly thereafter, they had raised it to $5 a day. The plumbers that went about organizing the non-union plumbers, they called them renegades. By the late 1930s, it had only grown to 86 members.
In those days, you used lead and oakum joints. You cut the pipe with a coal chisel, and they didn't have snap cutters or anything like that.
San Mateo County was open space. It had some large mansions.
Prior to the war was the Riker Duck Farm, so people would come down on the streetcar and get their duck eggs. Now they find a major metropolitan high school in that location.
In those days, Westlake or Daly City was considered really the boondocks. It was a great old highway that I miss. It was called the Skyline. And I remember being taken down to the great pumpkin festivals in Half Moon Bay.
Right after World War II, San Mateo County started to become the bedroom community of San Francisco. And of course of all the workers that worked here during the war in the shipyards and at the steel mills. Dolger started building in Westlake and moved on through Westlake and Daly City.
Henry Dolger built Westlake. There's 4 sections of Westlake, and the great park and recreation area owned by the city, Westlake Playground. That was all created by Henry Dolger.
Henry Dolger started building houses in the 40s in San Francisco. At the end of the Second World War, there were a lot of veterans who were in need of quality houses.
And the GIs came out with a no-down program. They were able to buy Henry Dolger's home with no money down. The Cal Vet gave you an interest rate loan of 3% to buy your home. They came to Daly City, Westlake in particular, because it was the first opportunity to buy a new house with very little money. They started at $11,950.
The city put streets and sewers, hydrants in, and then he had subcontractors to do the plumbing and electrical work. He started in by hiring all union plumbers, electrical, and maintenance men.
Henry Dolger's homes were the most well-built homes. The combination of redwood, which they don't use anymore because it's too costly. Henry Dolger's homes lasted now 50 years, and they still look like they're new. He was probably the largest builder at one time in the United States.
And he was a union man.
In the early 50s, the work started with Henry Dolger, who at the time built houses in the Sunset District, which Jim McClanahan worked on when he was a plumber. Henry had bought a lot of property at Westlake in Daly City and started to develop that through Jim's association with Dolger when he was in the field. We did get a lot of Dolger's work. The company expanded, and over a period of time, Jim, you might say, invented fabrication, where taking the work out of the field and put it in the shop under direct supervision made it possible for companies like McClanahan to handle 1,500 homes, where they were doing 15 houses a day in the plumbing.
The fabrication did take place in this shop. just outside these doors, we had a full crew of maybe 10 or 15 plumbers out here with what they call jigs or movable jigs, and a tree was fabricated completely. That was the waste, the vent, the water, the gas, everything. Loaded on trucks and shipped out. And not only this one track, but we were doing several tracks at the same time. So we were probably doing maybe 50 or 60 houses a day. In the beginning, I had like 4, 6, 7 plumbers up there. We had a lot of fun, we made a lot of money, and it worked out very well.
Sunstream Homes has been signature to the unions since the early 1940s and has been using McClenahan plumbing since the 1950s. We moved down to the Daly City, South San Francisco area, starting with Southern Hills, located just above the Cow Palace in Daly City, working then to Sunshine Gardens in South San Francisco. Carl and Fred Gillard were very particular about the quality of their homes. I could remember Fred Gillard coming in and setting a marble in the middle of the floor, and if it rolled in one direction or the other, he was very upset, and we had to redo that floor. Our association with the unions has always been excellent. The reason for the popularity of our homes is the excellent construction provided by union builders.
Foster City was totally built from the ground up on Bayfield by T. Jack Foster.
Our goal in building Foster City was to develop lots and to bring the best builders in to build the houses on them. And they were K Homes, Duke and Elliott, and Eichler Homes. And they were all well established and all had good relationships with the unions. The city was designed around the lagoon system. The lagoon was absolutely essential to drain Foster City from rainfall. The pipeline system had to be designed in a fashion that it was flexible in order to withstand earthquakes, and furthermore, they could count on the gravity lines, which were the sewer lines, continuing to flow downhill. We didn't want to go any deeper than we had to, so they were very carefully laid out so we could get maximum use out of each trench. Back in the 60s, the Building Trades Council and the Plumbers Union were very supportive of Foster City. There was no labor strife whatsoever. There was a lot going on in the Bay Area in the 1960s. This was a time of enormous growth. The attitude was pro-growth, and it was happening. I would call it boom time.
As the homes started to be built in northern San Mateo County, they needed facilities, shopping centers, stores, water treatment, sewage treatment, and we started building all those facilities. During the 70s, the environmental movement really took hold. So the building trades, under the leadership of Bob Gilmore and Tom Hunter, went about trying to bring forth to city councils that their residents were losing jobs.
The bulk of the dollar started turning from residential into commercial. People were against high-rise buildings, and we'd have to fight for high-rise buildings.
The two largest projects in San Mateo County are the San Francisco International Airport and Genentech.
The labor unions built the airport. It was built by plumbers and electricians and pipe fitters and cement workers and laborers, and we're not finished yet.
All of the crafts have been instrumental in the success of the airport. The airport has produced enormous numbers of jobs, 70 to 80,000 over the last 40 years. Dollar volume wise, it's in the billions. The new international terminal accounts for more than $2.5 billion.
My name is Ray Garvin. I'm a member of Local 467. In 1977, I was a steward at the North Terminal. I had a little car and I'd ride all over the airport checking on people that was infringing on our rights.
They have two 6,000-ton chillers and two 3,000-ton chillers, several 50,000 plus BTU boilers and some smaller BTU boilers.
1977, North Terminal at San Francisco Airport, fitters, welders, and mechanics. Sonny Hayes was general foreman.
For several years, they had been planning this huge expansion of the San Francisco International Airport. I had been reading about project stabilization agreements. These project stabilization agreements would work very well out of the airport. With the help of people like Mike Knapp from the Carpenters and Paul Mannion from the Sheet Metal Workers, we moved forward. And I asked Gary Saunders to come on board. There were many times that Gary and I didn't agree on issues, but I'm happy to say that, especially because of the Plumbers and Steamfitters, we were able to get the project stabilization agreement. We were challenged. We did go to the state Supreme Court. Gary was there at the hearings. We won on a unanimous decision, and these project stabilization agreements are all over California.
Genentech came to South San Francisco for 2 or 3 reasons. South San Francisco was moving away from the heavy industry, but had a fairly large supply of land. It's directly adjacent to the airport. The biotech industry is among the most expensive per square foot industries in the world.
The biotech or pharmaceutical industry, there might be 20 or 30 different types of piping that your mechanics have to be trained in, and there's a precision that's required in installing that. It's quality, it's craftsmanship, and pride in your work.
Different varieties of plastic piping for the chemicals. They had 3 or 4 different new chemicals, and they were joined differently. They were joined with solvents, epoxies, or they were welded together in some cases with hot air.
The ability to recognize toxics, to be able to identify products and materials. Our craftsmen are able to identify those with the training they get from the union and also the on-job site training that we provide.
It's certainly been my experience, not only with Genentech, but with many of the other developments out there, that there is no margin for error, that work is of the highest quality.
The Stanford Linear Accelerator was finished in the late 70s. We had at one time over 80 members working on the project.
The piping job on the accelerator lasted 2 years. Type K copper, a lot of it 4 or 5 inch pipe. It was soldered with 95.5, probably 80,000 feet or so overall of overhead straight linear pipe.
Sam Abiscato. He was a business manager when I came this local. He served as business manager from 1954 to 1971. In those days, it wasn't as modern as it is today. It was mostly plumbers work, and we had so many plumbers down here. He run this local with Irving Hupp as his business agent and Dorothy as his secretary. He did a hell of a job, this local. He's a great man. Tom Hunter was a business agent from 1967 to 1970. And then from 1971 to 1987, he was a business manager. He's a beginner of it all, Tom Hunter.
About the time that I decided to run for business manager of the Building Trades Council, I had befriended Tom Hunter of the Plumbers Union, and we decided that he said if I would run for business manager, he would run for president.
The inimitable, unforgettable personality of Tommy Hunter, who was a bit of a rabble-rouser, didn't necessarily perform in the same way that Bob Gilmore did, but what it made for was this great 2-part working relationship we call good cop, bad cop. Tom had no problem being the bad cop. He was a great chest pounder, a great activist, and was really able to put forth the issues that were important to working people.
Tom was very colorful and very helpful and bright.
Tom, combined with Bob, were able to walk into these rooms and talk to the people that were going to be the decision makers and make them comfortable with moving forward with these new ideas, such as the prevailing wage ordinance.
Tom Hunter was the business manager when I first ran for business agent. I was a business agent for 8 years. Took office in 1980 and became business manager in 1988. The goals of any business manager is to make sure his members have good wages, good benefits, and good working conditions. Tom Hunter and Sam Abiscato both had a good relationship with the elected officials, and I thought that it was incumbent upon any leader of this local union to maintain that and improve it as time went on. Our apprenticeship program is in the forefront of training for the plumbing and pipe fitting industry.
Our apprentices are enrolled in a 5-year training program. with 1,300 school hours, and many of our apprentices turn out with nearly 10,000 on-the-job work experience hours. Our current staff of instructors has well over 100 years of experience, and they're willing and able to share all that knowledge.
We train plumbers and we train fitters. We also cross-train, and that's something unique.
We have the latest in machinery, the latest in equipment, the latest in technology.
Through their apprenticeship program, they brought in the technology that's needed to perform all classes of welding. The other thing they've done is got into the computer age with AutoCAD.
The apprentices' training is, for the most part, done on the job.
From the journeyman to the apprentice. That's where the trade is learned. What we do here in the school supports that.
Their pension plan and their health plans and everything are probably the best there is.
Tom Hunter, I think, did as much for the pension plan and the health and welfare as anyone.
Ocean Colony was an investment vehicle that the pension plan bought a number of years ago. It's been very successful over the years. Gary Saunders took that idea that Tom had and developed it into homes, another golf course. The benefits that Tom thought of 20 years ago are now becoming fruitful to the pensioners.
After a member of Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 467 provides 30 to 35 years in this industry, he can look forward to good health benefits and a good retirement and feel secure and live with dignity for the rest of his days.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby,
just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. Don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
to keep me from getting to you, babe. Remember the day you set me free? I told you you could always count on me, girl.
From that day on, I made a vow I'd be there when you want me, some way, somehow. You know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
to keep me from getting to you, babe. Oh no, baby,
no wind,
no way.
no winter storm
No,
could stop me, baby.
no, no, baby.
'Cause you are my
With
own.
every trouble, I'll be there on the double to send for me.
Oh,
Oh,
baby.
baby.
My love is alive down in my heart, no matter if we're apart.
If you ever need a helping hand, I'll be there on the double just as fast as I can.
'Cause you know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
To keep me from getting to you, baby.
You know that there ain't no mountain high enough.
You want to do it together again? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Happy
Happy
100th
birth-
birthday.
Yeah, happy 100th birthday. Huh?
Right. June 467.
Happy what?
You want to start again? Okay. Happy 100th birthday, 467. And good luck in the future.
I second the motion.